Hey everyone, what's up? It's Madurik with another Wilder Racing Academy video for you. And today we're going to be talking about a concept called slow in, fast out. And the goal, as always, is to help you be faster on the racetracks in playing Midnight in Wiami by Wilder World so that you can improve your lap times and win races. So let's get started. So this concept is in relation to how we manage going through turns on a racetrack. Now we know that races are won and lost on the turns because that's where most of the technique comes into play for shaving off time. While straight sections of a course are simple in the sense that we just point straight and go full throttle, what's critical is how quickly we get on full throttle coming out of the turn into the straightaway. So when we hit a straightaway, we are continually accelerating, going faster and faster until we need to brake for the next turn. So if two identical cars are entering a straightaway, the one that's able to get on full throttle sooner will have more time to accelerate and therefore achieve a higher top speed and, of course, a faster lap time. Because straightaways are the longest sections of a course, they offer us the ability to shave the most amount of time off our laps, provided we enter them correctly. Go into a long straightaway with a slow start, and you'll see that slowness compound the entire length of the section, versus going into that long straightaway with a fast start, and you'll see your lap times improve significantly. So let's break this down by looking at a couple critical turns on the course called Underground. Okay, so now we're looking at a course map for Underground. And what we're going to focus on are two specific turns and sections. So the first, here's our start line, and we're headed this way, east. So the first section we're going to look at are turns 5 and 6 right here. And then we're also going to be looking at the last couple turns before the last straightaway. Okay? Now, in both of these examples, what you'll see is that after the last turn, we have a really long straightaway, okay? And you could manage this straightaway with full-on power without stopping all the way up until about here when you really need to brake for this upcoming turn. So you have this huge section here that allows you just to keep accelerating. The last section, same thing. If I can get on power somewhere around here, I could manage going through all of this on full power. So you could see that these two sections offer us the longest time to be on full power and therefore making sure that we could gain the most amount of speed before we need to brake again. Okay, so let's draw this out and look at what we want to do, and then we'll, of course, jump into the game and put it into action. So what I did here is put our course map on the left and I pre-drew a basic idea of the ideal line on the right. It's not perfect, but it's going to give us an idea of what we want to achieve, okay? So we are, of course, first talking about these two turns here on the course, okay? The overall goal is that we want to get on power as soon as possible around here so that we could continue accelerating all the way through this section, okay? So, again, slow in, fast out. Let's break it down. If we're coming into this section of the turn here, let's say I'm going really fast and I point my car in this direction. We already know that this is not what we want to do because our car is going to be pointed going straight into this wall. And for me to manage this turn so that I don't hit the wall, I'd have to brake way late and really hard, and I wouldn't be able to get onto power until maybe around here, okay, where then my car is just in a really awkward direction, and I'm going to have to brake a lot before I can get on full power, okay, versus the line that I drew here. So how do we achieve this line? We need to brake early so that we can slow our car down to make this turn here, okay? Now, yes, we always want to focus on hitting apexes, but sometimes with complex turns such as this, which is sometimes known as a chicane, depending on how it's set up, is that sometimes you need to sacrifice the first apex in order to position yourself for the last apex. What's the most important turn or apex to hit perfectly? Definitely this one, because it's the one right before the longest straight, okay? So if we need to sacrifice some speed to enter into this turn properly, that will make us faster overall. So, by going slower here, we could position our car in a way that will allow us to maybe get on power right around here, okay? Now, if I did not manage this turn clean, or if I went too fast, I might have to brake more, and then I couldn't get onto power maybe here. And it might not look like a lot, but remember, every split second that you are on power sooner is going to equal more acceleration and more top speed, okay? So that's the idea. It's very easy to want to just go fast as possible and forget about, what's coming up. But if you think about it, coming into this turn too quickly is going to ruin not just this turn here, but it's going to compound the entire time you're trying to accelerate and get faster throughout all of this section here. Don't think about NOS as being the solution either. NOS is a tool that we need to save at the right moment. Yes, it can get us out of a turn quicker, but keep in mind, the quicker we go, the less turning radius the car will have. So we need to make sure that we manage a turn. If we want to think about it with NOS, we still need to think about how much of that turn can we manage going that fast, okay? So you still need to think about taking the turn, going into it a little bit slower so that you could position the car perfectly to get on power and come out of it quicker, okay? That's the example for this here. That's the basic idea. Let's take a look at the last turn of the course as well. Okay, so now we're looking at an example of the last few turns in the course. If we're looking at our track map, it's basically this area right here, okay? What's interesting about this area is that we have an island in the middle of this straight section right here, breaking up the width of the course. And we have to take this into consideration when we approach it, because we have two options. We could go to the left side of that island or to the right of it. Now, if I go to the left of it, okay, I could certainly enter this turn quicker. So in other words, if I wanted to take a line like this and get to the left of it, this will make me faster going into this turn. But what happens here is that I can't make this turn as quick. I need to brake more here, and that's going to make me get on throttle much later than if I were to enter full throttle maybe around here, like I'm doing in my ideal line example, okay? So, what do we need to focus on? Slow in, fast out. The slower we go into this first section, the quicker I could point my car in the direction that will allow me to get on full throttle. Now, right around here is where I can actually get on full throttle and manage all the way through all of this section here, okay? Sorry, this is a little tricky to use with the squigglies. But anyways, so taking this hard right, I have to slow down a lot to be able to take this turn. And when you do that initially, it might not feel like it's going to make you faster. But the whole idea is that by taking this line, I can get on power sooner and therefore accelerate longer throughout the rest of the section. Because remember, looking at our track map, if we do this right, we could pretty much get on power right around here, maybe even here, and stay on power all the way through this section and then start braking right around here for this turn, okay? If I don't do this that way, I might have to get on power maybe around here or so. Or I'm sorry, it'd be back further around here because I'd have to manage getting through this turn, and then this is a pretty big sweeping turn, so I can take this full throttle. But again, if I take this too hard to the left of the island, I need to brake more to not hit the wall here. And now I'm going really slow already, and I'm not able to get on throttle sooner. So that's the basic concept. Let's now look at the track in the game and put it into action. Okay, so we've loaded up our game. We are currently in build 4.0, which is great. We've definitely seen a lot of improvements in this. We are also in week 4 at the time of this video of the Wheels Arcade Tournament. So I'm looking at the track underground at the weekly top times. I'm currently sitting at number 10th with a sub 225 time. And I assure you that achieving this is not easy, but these techniques are the things that we're going to really help us achieve that. So we're going to go to underground, load up on NOS, load up on fuel, and take a look at these turns in action. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and use the Wiami. This seems to be the fastest car on the track. Again, you could apply this concept to any car, any corner, any track. Okay, so getting our way up to the turn we want to first talk about, which is turn 5 and 6. So leading up to this is not a super long straightaway, but it's certainly one that's going to help us develop a lot of speed, okay? So, and this is turn 4 here. So coming into this is going to be our straightaway before turn 5 and 6, okay? So we, of course, want to line ourselves up on the left-hand side of this to get the maximum rotation. So here's where we go looking at this. So here's our apex of the first turn. And again, if we hit that correctly, we can get on full power and stay on full power throughout this turn and then moving into our long straightaway. Something to be cautious about is that, a side note, is that you can see how the ground moves from asphalt to a cobblestone. That actually will cause you to oversteer if you hit the NOS right when you hit that cobblestone. It's a different texture, and it does affect the way the car handles, okay? But nonetheless, if we hit this apex correctly, we could manage this turn no problem by straightening out our car, and then we're good to go with the straightaway, okay? So looking at this turn, let's now try hitting it really quickly and see what happens. Okay, so if I don't brake early enough, that's what happens. I can't manage the turn. I'm going to fly into the wall. So we obviously need to brake to manage this turn. Now, how much do we brake? Enough so that we could manage getting around that turn and positioning the car correctly to be able to get back on full throttle as soon as possible, okay? Now, of course, what you always want to do is test it out with whatever car you're using and understand the limits of that car. But also set markers so that once you get it correctly, you know exactly where you're going to start braking, where you're going to let off the brake, and then get on full power, okay? So if I hit this, maybe right at that pole on the right, okay? So what I like to use on this one, look at these landmarks on the right. I got a tree, I got a pole, I got a tree, and another pole and another tree, okay? So maybe I look at this pole first and use that as the marker for me to brake, okay? And maybe I hold it until the tree. If that's enough, again, these things happen very quickly, but that's what I'm thinking when I'm actually putting this into practice, okay? I'm looking at the markers that I have to say, let me test out braking full here and see if that gets me what I need to manage the turn, okay? So that's, again, how I'm going to practice this. So I'm coming at this at pretty quick speed. And then we say, let's brake, off, back on full power, and now I can manage both of these turns no problem, okay? And so that's the idea, is managing the positions of the track where I could test out braking, getting on full throttle, and still achieving the full, being able to get through the turn with full throttle. I assure you that once you get past this turn, if you approach it correctly, you could stay on full throttle and make it all the way through this section. All right, so let me get back to a place and hit this at full speed, and we'll try it once again. Okay, so coming into turn 4. Getting some decent speed here. Gonna brake. Back on full throttle. Managing both of these turns, and there we go. Now we're on our straightaway. We're gonna hold this guy down this entire time. Again, I'm not worried about NOS, but I'm still able to handle all this on full throttle, accelerating and going quicker and quicker and quicker. Still on full throttle, and now's where I gotta need to brake to get around this turn here, okay? But that's the idea, is as you can see in that example, I can manage that turn at full throttle, but only if I go in slow so that it can get out fast, okay? Let's look at the second example. Okay, so now we're heading into the second section here that we're gonna talk about, and this is, again, the last few turns of the course. So this is tricky because we have a few turns here, so we need to set ourselves up right here. Now here's where that turn is. You can see that there's the little island that we have to consider, okay? So our options are go to the left of this island, but if we do that, we'll need to brake a lot sooner, or I'm sorry, a lot later, and that's going to allow us to get around this turn much slower, and we won't be able to get on the full throttle until about here. Now this turn, regardless of which way we take it, we could take full speed, okay? And leading to that super long straightaway. But again, the second option that we want to work with is taking a tighter turn here and staying to the right of that island, because that'll allow us to get on full throttle sooner and give us more acceleration. This one's tricky to stay on full throttle. You might need to let off just for a split second. However, overall, it's usually the faster line throughout the section. So, coming into it, wide turn left, take it slow in, get this turn around. Now I could be on full throttle. I may need to lift a little bit there, but now I'm on full throttle and can manage all of that like that, staying on full throttle. And of course now, that throttle is just gonna compound this whole section here where I'm going straight and gaining more and more speed until about this light on the right where I have to brake to be able to make this turn here, okay? So let's go back and check that out one more time. Okay, I've gone back a few more turns just to illustrate this, and we're gonna try hitting it at full speed and see what happens. So, coming in, few turns before, again, a little slower, I wanna make this turn right, full throttle, full throttle. All right, so I need to slow down, take a hard left here, be patient, hard right, now get on full throttle, so I can manage all of this. Oop, hit that curb, and there we go. So again, though, taking that and practicing it, finding the the visual cues that you could use as landmarks to know when it's safe to brake, let off the brake, and get on full power, okay? So if I'm coming around, where are we here? So if I'm hitting this turn, and it's always best to try to find cues that are as close to your car as possible. So in other words, if I'm coming here on this side, I want to look at one of these trees on my right, since it's going to be the closest to my visual, senses, to say, all right, maybe this tree is where I need to brake for me to be able to make this turn. But again, I cannot come too fast into this turn, because if I do, I'm going to be forced to take this line. Now I need to brake extensively to make this turn. Now I'm to the left of this thing. All of this is going to compound into making me slower throughout all of these turns. And I won't be able to get onto full power, maybe around to here, because I've had to brake so much to manage all of that, okay? So that's, again, things to consider when getting through a very tricky section like this. And again, it's so important to practice this, know what your car can manage, and use and set those visual cues so that once you find out what does work, then you always do it consistently time after time, okay? So one more time coming at this. All right, back on full speed, managing all those turns. There we go. So that's the idea. And now I'm going to talk about one more concept that's really helpful. Okay, so one last tip that is super, super helpful in this new build of 4.0. So at the time of this video, recently it was updated to the build 0.4.0. And one of the features is the Delta Lap. And that is what you'll see under this here. So at the right here, you can see that I have the current lap time. And then under it is going to be what we call the Delta. And you'll see this after you do one full lap. And what it's going to do is compare your time, whether you're quicker or slower than your previous lap. And this is a tool that you'll be able to use to see how much improvement your techniques and the way you drive are helping. So what I'm going to do is get through this first track. This is a 10-minute course, so I'm going to bounce around and skip recording it all, but I'm going to get through a lap, and we're going to look at my last lap and then look at what the delta is when I do improve upon certain sections, all right? Okay, so we're finishing up a clean lap here. We're going to go into doing a full lap and take a look at our delta and see how we do. All right, so last lap, 2:32. The main thing you want to know about the delta, green is good, red is bad. Red means you're not going as fast as you did the last lap. So we're going to try to see what we can do about getting that green. Now, keep in mind, at the current build, it doesn't update in real time, but you'll see it update in sections. So again, right here, brake early, full speed, and manage both of these corners. Get on NOS and full power, and we'll make our way all the way around this big, long straightaway. All right, so we're currently 1 second, 62 tenths faster than our previous lap. All right, so now we're shaved 3.5 seconds off our time from our previous lap. And again, all the time, I'm always thinking about, again, slow in, fast out. How can I be fast as possible by getting on these straightaways, getting on full power quicker? Here's our second last turn here. All right, coming in full power. All right, let's see what we end up with. So, coming up on our last one. All right, last lap, 2:25.46. So we didn't quite get down to a 2:24, but you could see, you know, again, the basic ideas that we talked about and the basic strategy. So again, use this in every turn, every track, every car. Look at your track, look at where the long straightaways are, and really plan out how you're going to approach that turn before the straightaway. And I guarantee it'll help you shave a lot more time than you think. So have fun, and we'll see you soon. If you like this video and you want to show some support, you could join the Wilder Racing Academy for exclusive benefits, additional content, and interact with other members to ask questions, share tips, and much more. The Wilder Racing Academy uses the Zero Name Service Protocol, which is a social media platform utilizing Web3 technology to provide a token-gated community for its members. To learn more about ZNS, visit zero.tech/worlds. So now I'm going to walk you through how to join the Wilder Racing Academy by registering your own member ID using the Zero Name Service. First off, go to explorer.zero.tech. You're going to connect this service to your Web3 wallet. I'm going to use MetaMask. Next, you'll need a total of 265 Meow tokens plus some ETH to pay for gas fees. We can get the Meow tokens on Uniswap. To make sure you get to the right place, just click the link in the right-hand menu for Buy Meow. You can use a number of different currencies to swap for Meow. I'm going to use some ETH. Select our token that we want to swap with, and then select the amount of Meow tokens you want. So we're going to put in 265. At the time of this video, Meow is around 3 cents, so it's just a little over $8. we're going to go ahead and swap this and approve and confirm. All right, now that we have our Meow tokens, we could register our ID. We're going to go to the ID box and look for Wilder Racing Academy. And we're going to click on View World. Next, click the link for Join World and then type in the member ID you want to use. I also wanted to point out that this is a one-time fee and there are no renewal fees. Plus, you could refund it at any time if you want to cancel. So I'm going to go ahead and click Mint Domain. Click Confirm. And now we'll need to approve 2 transactions. First, we need to approve the token spending. The domain price is $250, the stake fee is $555, and the protocol fee is $943 for a total of 264 Meow tokens. So we'll go ahead and approve spending. And finally, we're going to mint our domain. Click Mint Domain, approve the transaction in your Web3 wallet, and keep in mind that gas fees will vary depending on when you register. And that's it. You're now a member and can keep up to date with the community using the Zero Messenger app. You can learn more about that at zero.tech/messenger. We look forward to seeing you as the newest member and thank you for your support.